Welcome to Sleepless Readings. Tonight we'll be reading a tale called Come to Daddy.
Growing up, I was always told by my mum that my dad died in a fire, but I can never forget the day she revealed the truth to me. When I was 3 years old, my dad became the talk of the town, but not for his achievements or being a pillar of the community. It was for his death. Because finally, the linoleum lacerator had died in a fire. He unleashed terror upon the town for 3 long years. He killed multiple men and women using a box cutter, then rolled his dead victims in linoleum, leaving them to be discovered by members of the public. Although the only survivor of my dad's attacks was the last person to see him alive and trapped in the burning building, my dad was only assumed dead, as there was never a body recovered from the scene. I remember my mind spinning when my mum told me. I felt like all the oxygen was being dispersed from my brain. There was always part of me that knew that there was more to the story, as I had always heard gossip or had comments made to me about him, but never expected it to be true. I knew it wouldn't bring me joy or closure, but after I learned the truth, I googled him and found articles about his victims, and the article about his death, with the headline, "Linoleum lacerator floored by fire." Naturally, by the time I started secondary school, everyone knew who I was. So I would get people making remarks and asking questions such as,
"Are you going to be a carpenter or a serial killer when you grow up?"
There were times where I felt like some people were quite cautious of me. Like I was just like my dad or would end up following in his footsteps. As I had become so used to it, I didn't think much of it when I started to find small cut-offs of linoleum in my school bag, with a message written on the back saying, "Come to Daddy." This happened for months, but I knew it was someone pranking me, so I didn't bother informing my mum or the school. The thing that was most concerning was how they managed to get it in my bag without me noticing. Then one day I received a text from my friend. She sent me directions to a location to meet her and said she had a surprise for me. I thought it was quite odd for her to be so mysterious and felt anxious that it may be a prank someone had put her up to, but she was a good friend of mine, so there was part of me that had to trust her. I went to the location and my stomach began to turn as I walked closer and closer to what appeared to be a building site. There was no one working there, so I assumed they must have been done for the day, but I knew something sinister was going on. As I walked around the site calling for my friend, I played scenarios in my head, thinking she wouldn't just willingly prank me. Someone must have stolen her phone or bullied her into sending the message. Then, as I was wandering around, I noticed a roll of linoleum, and I knew right then that someone was pranking me, but they had gone too far this time. Although I still felt anxious being on my own in the building site, this filled me with rage. How pathetic can someone be to go this far? Who was doing this? Sending me pieces of linoleum for months, and for what? To make me suffer? To get a reaction? There was no reason for it, and I wouldn't keep my mouth shut any longer. I started to approach the roll of linoleum, and as I did, I noticed something sticking out. It looked like an arm, but it couldn't be. Maybe it was a mannequin. I was adamant it was a mannequin. I kept going closer, and that's when I could see it was real and covered in blood. Still, I convinced myself it's not real. It's fake blood. But why was this arm wearing Sheila's bracelet around it? I couldn't lie to myself anymore. This couldn't be a prank. Sheila wouldn't take part in this. As the realization began to sink in, I felt like I was turning to concrete. I couldn't move. I tried to swallow, but there was only air. My eyes started to well up with tears, and as they did, I noticed a figure approaching behind the corpse. I looked up, but my vision was blurred by my tears. As they got closer, I hoped that they were going to burst out laughing, and this was all going to be some elaborate prank. But the last words I heard were,
Come to Daddy. Thank you for listening. That was Come to Daddy.
Don't forget to like the video, it does help to boost the channel.
Leave a comment for the algorithm.
There's new stories every Sunday.
Not to mention the shorts on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So subscribe.
And ring the bell.
Thanks, guys. And, as always, stay sleepless.